Hey everyone, and welcome back to Melbourne Railway videos. The shots you are seeing are all of a station opening this week. This week? In case you somehow missed it, the Metro Tunnel is opening on Sunday the 30th of November. So if it's so close to opening, why do these shots make it look like parts of the tunnel are far from being finished? And that's what this video is going to be about. The Metro Tunnel is going to be opening in an incomplete state. So I'll be taking you around all the major construction sites and showing you what the state of each of them are so you get a sense of how incomplete the tunnel is and when the project will actually be finished. We'll start here at Town Hall. This is the Federation Square construction site, which will probably be the last thing to be finished on this project. Behind all that scaffolding is the station entrance canopy. If you've been following these construction updates for a while, you'll remember that all the canopies at the other stations looked like this for a while. For example, this is what Anzac's Albert Road entrance canopy looked like in autumn of 2024. By winter, it looked like this. By spring, it was pretty much externally finished, with only interior fit-outs continuing. And finally, in summer, it was essentially done. It was a similar story for State Library's Franklin Street entrance in terms of the length of time. So based on that, it's quite possible that it won't be done for at least another 6 months. As usual, I can't find any indications online in the construction updates released by the Metro Tunnel around how long it will take, so all I can do is speculate. You'll also see that there's still a hole in the ground here on the Fed Square side. They're using this to lower in various materials and things as they fit out the passenger facilities for this entrance. Again, I can't really find any indication as to how much longer these works will last for, but it's another reason why I think Fed Square's entrance won't be finished for quite a while. Let's have a look at the other main incomplete construction site, which is the Flinders Quarter site. Now, this will be a construction site for even longer than Fed Square because they'll be working on an overstation development well after this entrance opens. I think most of the work on the left-hand side here is to do with that and has little to do with the station. The station entrance at this site is actually pretty well progressed. You can see that all the signage is in place and everything in this little pocket looks like it's just about to be in its final state. So will this entrance open on the 30th of November? Probably not. A Herald Sun article in October claimed that it would likely be open in early 2026. The Metro Tunnel will open in a staggered fashion. Until the full opening in February, it will just essentially run as a tourist service. Trains will only run between 10 AM and 3 PM and for a bit longer on weekends, mostly between Westall and West Footscray. These trains will operate in addition to the existing Sunbury, East Pakenham and Cranbourne services that run through the city loop. So the network won't really be changing until February. It's just that those test trains that you might have seen running through the tunnel will be carrying passengers now, and the new stations will be open. Anyway, getting back to the Flinders Quarter site, my theory is that a big part of the reason why a staggered opening is necessary is because this entrance won't be ready by this week. Having only one main entrance into Town Hall and one corridor into Flinders Street Station could be dangerous if there is some issue with the City Square entrance, especially as Town Hall will probably be the busiest station on the Metro Tunnel. So it makes sense to wait until this Flinders Quarter entrance is done before subjecting Town Hall to the passenger load of full service. Initially, you'll only be able to get to this entrance from Swanston Street, but eventually you'll also be able to get to it from other directions, including from Flinders Street, Cocker Alley, Scott Alley, and maybe even Royston Place, I'm not sure. The funny thing is that the government claimed that major construction was complete at Town Hall Station in October. Now, I don't know about you, but this is far from my definition of major construction being complete. I think if you still have cranes on site and scaffolding all over the place, construction works are still pretty major. Anyway, the station will be opening next week for a reason, so let me show you the signs that it actually is ready to go. This is the City Square entrance, which is essentially done. I really like the patterns on these walls, they look very modern. And this is City Square, which opened up for a Jimmy Barnes concert a couple of days ago, but was closed again when I went past it. All the garden beds from last time are now decked out with trees and plants. This building here is actually going to be a tourist information centre. I'm so excited to have City Square open as a public space once again. I also want to show you some of the new signage at Flinders Street Station. All the platforms now have signs like this, directing passengers towards Town Hall Station. Within the De Grey Street subway, there are several signs reassuring passengers that they are going the right way, although I do think they could have made the font size a bit larger. The passageway through to Town Hall is right behind this wall. There is no sign of progress in Campbell Arcade though, so I wonder when the shops will return here. It's a shame that they haven't timed it for the opening of the tunnel, as I think it would have been a great opportunity to re-establish the presence of Campbell Arcade in people's minds. Okay, let's move now to State Library. Unlike Town Hall, I think State Library Station is actually finished. All the entrances should be open on day one. In fact, I was lucky enough to go to the State Library Station tour, so I got to have a look inside. First impressions, it is deep. The escalators go a long way down. But from that tour, construction on the inside is truly finished. Well, I'm not 100% sure that the Franklin Street entrance is fully finished because we weren't allowed to use it during the open day, but I think that it will be finished and that they just wanted to make it easier to manage crowds by only using one entrance on that day. Anyway, I'll have a much more detailed video on State Library Station uploaded when it opens, but in this video, I want to focus on the construction progress that has been made above ground. The biggest change is a Beckett Street. This was the last shed to be removed at State Library because they were still lowering materials down into the station from this site for a long time. But now, a Beckett Street has reopened to traffic, although I'm not sure what traffic will actually use it. There are also these very strange ancillary buildings here. This lift won't be open for the general public, but will provide staff-only access to the station, and probably takes you into the various back rooms. Otherwise, the space around it has been nicely decked out with seats, creating a new bit of public open space which I'm sure will be well used by RMIT students. It sure is weird seeing a Beckett Street without any sort of construction equipment. Moving along to Franklin Street, and it is open to traffic again, which I think is a bit of a nuisance. It was closed for so long that drivers had the opportunity to change their driving habits to adapt to it no longer being open for through traffic. I think this is a real missed opportunity for more public open space in a part of the city which could really do with more of it. Again, it borders RMIT University, and there are so many students who live in this area, so I think the benefit of providing open space here would far exceed the benefit of reopening it to cars. Anyway, at least there's a nice large footpath here, so pedestrians aren't too cramped in. I also like how they have recognised First Nations elders with art on these ancillary buildings. As for the main entrance at State Library, the part relevant to the station itself is obviously finished, but there's still a lot of work to do on the overstation development. Eventually, a lot of these spaces will be filled in with shops, but that won't be for a while yet. This entrance is open to the public. You can use it to access Melbourne Central Station without having to go through the busy shopping centre. Like Flinders Street Station, Melbourne Central has been fitted out with signage directing you towards the new State Library Station. It also has had all these new PIDs installed above all the escalators, which will help to provide more dynamic information for passengers. A Melbourne Railway Video's Metro Tunnel construction update wouldn't be complete without me going on a tangent about tram works, so here we go. In October, there were major tram works on the intersection of Elizabeth and Victoria Streets. These couple of shots during construction give you a sense of the scale of the works. It was a huge undertaking, and it was done very efficiently, only taking a couple of weeks. Anyway, the main purpose of it was to install these new tracks between the western and eastern sides of Victoria Street, across Elizabeth Street. The Route 57 always turns right onto Elizabeth Street, but now trams coming along this way, down the hill, have the option of continuing straight onto the other side of Victoria Street, and eventually right onto Swanston Street. The other side of Victoria Street was previously only used in exceptional circumstances, and trams coming along here could only turn right onto Elizabeth Street, rather than continue on straight to the other side of Victoria Street. Anyway, with the completion of these works, there is a great opportunity to divert some of the trams to Melbourne University to instead head west towards North Melbourne. However, there are no publicly available plans detailing exactly what this will entail, and indeed whether this new infrastructure will be used at all. I eagerly await further details on this. The other thing that they did during these works was put in a new accessible tram stop at the Queen Victoria Market. This stop is located further east than the old stop, which I think is fine. It doesn't really change access to the market. For some reason, they haven't opened the other exit yet, but I'm sure this will happen in due course. Another thing that I'd like to update you on are the Tie Station works in Kensington. I'm not going to pretend to you that I'm an electricity expert, but the Tie Station will help regulate electricity supplies through the tunnel and mitigate the risk of electromagnetic interference. Here is some footage from a city-bound Sunbury Line train. It looks like it has all been wired up and is ready to go, although so-called completion works will continue into next year. These will include landscaping, fencing, water and sewage works. Before I end the video, I just want to quickly take you to each of the other stations. I don't have anything to update you about Anzac, except that this sign now says opening on the 30th of November. But for Parkville, I have a very big update. It's open! So if you can't wait until Sunday to have a look, pop down and check it out yourself before then. As with the other stations, I'll do a full video on Parkville once the trains start running, but I'll say now that I was blown away by it. It does a really good job of letting in natural light, both from the station canopy and all the skylights. It's also really extensive, providing many exits to serve Melbourne University and the hospitals. Unlike all the other stations that I've been to, Parkville will definitely have shops open on day one. I was having a chat to a staff member there, and 7-Eleven will be open on day one, and I think this sushi chain will be open too. KFC and McDonald's will be a bit further away, and then there will be further retail options opening even later on, such as an IGA. It was interesting being down there and seeing all the stock that they were packing the 7-Eleven with. In terms of other construction activity unrelated to the retail spaces, Parkville's actually had some work done on it since last time. Smoke baffles were installed, which essentially limits the flow of smoke if there is a fire. I'm guessing that they did some smoke tests in the station and the outcomes weren't satisfactory, so they had to come back and install these baffles, rather than doing so in the first place. Otherwise, there's no sign of action in terms of fitting out this building in University Square, which is supposed to have some sort of retail offering. But they have finally fixed this PID, so it shows information for buses coming to the nearby stops, rather than a stop several blocks up the road. It only took them several months to do it, but hey, better late than never. Finally, here is Arden. In terms of the above ground stuff, you can now walk both under the arches through the station and all the way around its perimeter, but you can't go into it just yet like you can at Parkville. There's still no sign though of the shops being fitted out here at Arden, with all these empty spaces reserved for when they eventually decide to do it. As you can see, I was lucky enough to also do a tour of Arden Station. I would have made videos earlier from these tours, but I was busy with uni and didn't have enough time to make them. Like at State Library, I won't go through every single detail of the inside of the station now, because I'll be doing that in an upcoming video when the tunnel opens. But you can get a sense of how large the interior of Arden Station is from these videos. It has been designed to handle large numbers of passengers, even though it probably won't get those large numbers of passengers for quite a while. It is good to see some forward planning. Speaking of, there isn't any sign of development around Arden Station yet, despite these plans. It will eventually house many apartments, utilising its great location so close to the city and to the major train stations of Arden and North Melbourne. I really hope that development progresses soon here. We are in a housing crisis and we need to get as much new housing supply online as we can to get prices and rents down. Arden is the ideal place to start, so they should really be getting this moving as soon as possible. Well, that is all I have to update you on for the Metro Tunnel. I'm so excited for the opening next week, and I'll be making several videos related to it. I hope you have enjoyed my construction update since 2024. Many people, myself included, have criticised the construction of the Metro Tunnel for various reasons, but I think we all have to step back and appreciate that this is an extremely complex project, and it has taken a lot of really hard work to get it to its current state of nearly being finished. The progress that I've seen on it since 2024 alone is pretty remarkable. So stay tuned for the upcoming Metro Tunnel content, and hopefully many of you will get the opportunity to ride the Metro Tunnel soon yourselves. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.